Hi everyone, for our project today we're going to be doing some nice fall leaves and a little bit of color mixing. So the elements of art that we're going to cover are definitely color and also texture, how something feels. Now we can't actually make our leaves feel like they would if we actually touched them. They have those bumpy veins, but we can make it look like they have that texture. We're going to do something called creating implied texture. We're going to make implied texture so that it looks like if we touched these leaves, they would have a bumpy texture, how it feels. Now, to start, all we need is a piece of paper and a pencil. So the first step is to draw your leaf shapes. Now, there are many different types of leaves. I just did a simple oak leaf, maple leaf, and a beech tree leaf. Now, I'll show you how to draw all three, and it's up to you which ones or how many you'd like to choose. I did 5. I like drawing things in nature in odd numbers. 5 is an odd number. It kind of looks more natural that way, but it's up to you. Also, keep in mind when drawing, they could be right side up, they could be upside down, they could be kind of curved blowing in the wind, or even going right off your paper. So be creative with where and how you draw your leaves. All right, let's start with kind of a beech tree leaf. Maybe I want to put that one over here in the middle. I usually start by drawing that line right up the center. That way I have a spot to start and stop each time, right up the center. And then I go out and around and curve back down to the vein. Out and around and curve back down to the vein. Same on the other side. Out and around and I curve back down. And you can kind of add in smaller leaf veins if you'd like to add more texture. Now you might notice I added some spiky spots to this one. Sometimes I see that in leaves, sometimes I don't. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you could. Again, center line, and then curved out and maybe stop, go up and back down, stop, go up and back down to your center line, that leaf vein. Same to the other side, stop, up, back down, stop, up, back down. Adding smaller veins inside. Maybe you want to go ahead and try to do a maple leaf. I'm going to turn my paper upside down and do this one facing the other way. Center line, and this one has points. Notice there's like a triangle top over that center line. So let's try that one. Triangle top, and then it goes up, back down, kind of like we did before with the spikes. Up, back down, up, back down to the center line. Now the other side. Up, back down, up, back, connecting your leaf. And then the last kind of leaf I want to show you how to draw is the oak leaf. Same as always, start with your center line. Nice kind of curve over here. And instead of a triangle point at the top, I want to kind of curve and give it a hat. And then a bump, and a bump, and a bump, and a bump, and a bump. So center line, give it a hat. And then give it a curvy bump, bump, bump. Same to the other side. Bump, bump, bump. Add those inside leaf veins to give it that nice implied texture. Once you finish drawing all your leaves, we can then move on to tracing and covering all of your pencil with Sharpie. So I finished tracing everything in Sharpie, and it's a really important step I don't want us to skip. Erase all the pencil that you see poking out the sides. No one's perfect and traces perfectly on top of your pencil all the time. There's always little pencil pieces that I always have poking out the sides that I want us to take the time to erase and then wipe off that extra eraser marks. So take your time and erase the eraser marks everywhere. Now once you do that, we can move on to color. So now that we're ready to start coloring, I want to talk to you a little bit about color mixing. And I'm going to show you our color wheel. We're going to use our color wheel to help us know how to mix certain colors to make others. Now, what I mean by that is we are going to use our primary colors. Maybe you've heard of them: red, yellow, and blue. You might notice the shape that they make, a nice big triangle, and there's even a solid line connecting them to help you remember. So if you ever forget, when you see a color wheel, look for the big triangle and say, oh yeah, those are my primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. Now, red, yellow, and blue are super important colors. They're so important because they can make all the other colors on your rainbow in your color wheel. All you need to have are those 3 colors to make all of the others. And we're going to start to mix a few today. For example, to make some orange on our leaves, we are going to use the primary color red and yellow to make the color that is between it, orange. That's how the color wheel works. So also to make green, you need the primary color to the left and to the right. Yellow and blue make green. Now, as you might guess, red and blue would make violet. Now, we don't really have purple leaves, but some purple actually. So I will show you a purple-ish leaf that we're going to make. So we're going to make orange leaves, green, and a purplish. Now, the last thing that I need to tell you is what those colors are called. We learned that these are your primary colors. And now we need to know that your primary colors come together to mix your secondary colors, the second set of colors we'll learn about. And if you ever forget those, if you look close, your secondary colors are connected by a dotted upside down triangle. Again, the color wheel tells you the answers. Look for the dotted upside down triangle, and it will show you your secondary colors: orange, green, and purple. So let's use our primaries to make some secondary colors. Let's start with orange. Red and yellow mixed together to make some orange on our leaves. Now, you're going to need all 3 primary color crayons. So go ahead and take some time to find all 3, red, yellow, and blue crayons. Now, it's up to you which leaves you want what colors. I'll start right in the middle, and I'm going to color in the bottom nice and red. And now I want to kind of creep up a little bit and color a little bit, nice and soft, nice and loose with your crayon in your hand. Nice and soft, so I have some red for my yellow to mix with. I kind of push down hard down here, like we did with your abstract art to create different values. You're going to need to know how to do that to mix a little bit also. So I can push down to make a dark value here with red, and then color a little bit softer and a little bit lighter to make a lighter value of red. Same for the yellow, but in reverse. Push down hard at the top to make a dark value of yellow. I'm going to grab a different yellow. Push down hard for a dark value. And then as we start to overlap, meaning cover the other parts, cover the red, when we're overlapping our colors, you can loosen up your grip and make a lighter value on top that's going to mix. And you're actually going to start to see some orange where your 2 colors are touching and overlapping. Now, maybe you want to do another leaf orange? Go for it. If you're ready to start trying another combination, we're going to make green. Do you remember how to make green? Yellow and blue come together to mix and make green. So let's do the same thing. Pushing down, get a nice dark value blue. And then you can kind of loosen up your hand and make a nice lighter value for that yellow to mix with. And let's do the yellow. Push down. And then when we're going to overlap, we can get a little bit looser. We don't need to push down so hard. And you're going to see a nice green mixing. It's funny, we are not using paint, but we are still mixing your colors simply with crayon. Now we talked about that purple-ish color. Your leaves aren't exactly purple in the fall, but they do, if you look really close, kind of have a purpley, brownishy, redishy kind of coloring to them. So that's exactly what we're going to mix. Not just purple, but we're going to mix purple with brown and red. So we're not going to do what we did for the other ones. We're not going to mix blue and red together because we don't just have purple and it won't look very realistic. And we're going to be a little bit more realistic. So let's actually go ahead and just find a purple crayon, find that secondary color, and we can go ahead and add some purple. Now, once you feel like you've got enough purple and you want to switch over to some red, we could stop and switch over. And again, pushing down so I get some nice dark values, and then letting them overlap and mix and blend together. Now, we did talk about how the leaf is also a little bit brownish. So what you can do is mix in some brown now. Start to overlap some brown right on top of the red. And you can even add it right on top of the purple also. It'll give it a nice realistic kind of fall leaf coloring. Now, I want you to take your time. Experiment with some mixing and your hand pressure to create different values and make some beautiful fall leaves. And at the very end, before we say we're done, we need some wind to blow these leaves around. So now that we have these big white spaces, kind of go ahead through and fill them with some nice swirling wind if you'd like. You could fit some here and over here with some nice swirling lines. Up to you where to complete your work.